For 30 years, I did the same thing. I'd sit across from a patient, look them in the eye, and say, "Your cholesterol is too high. We need to lower it." I talk about statins. I talk about eggs. I talk about cutting the fat off steak. I thought I was helping. But then I started noticing something strange. I was seeing patients, men and women in their 50s and 60s, who had perfect cholesterol numbers. I mean, picture perfect. They took their medication, they ate the heart-healthy diet I told them to eat, and yet they were still ending up in my office with clogged arteries. Some of them ended up in the ER with heart attacks. It didn't make sense. For a long time, I blamed genetics. I told them some people just have bad luck. But I was wrong. I was missing the real culprit. And today I'm going to show you what I finally discovered. It's a food, a category of food, that is now causing more inflammation, more plaque, and more heart attacks than dietary cholesterol ever did. If you are over 40 and you think you are eating healthy, you need to stay with me until the very end, because what I'm about to tell you might save your life. Let's go back in time for a second. For decades, we were taught a simple equation. Eat fat, get fat. Eat cholesterol, clog your arteries. It made sense. It was easy to understand. So we built an entire industry around it. Low-fat yogurt, egg white omelets, margarine instead of butter, cereals that tasted like cardboard but had a heart-healthy sticker on the box. We were told to replace that juicy steak with a processed turkey sandwich. We were told to replace butter with vegetable oil spreads. We were told to avoid nuts because they were too fatty. I told my patients this. I was sincere. I believed it. But here's the problem with a simple lie. It usually breaks down when you look at real life. Because while we were all busy lowering our cholesterol numbers, heart disease didn't disappear. In fact, for a large portion of the population, it got worse. And the reason is sitting in your pantry right now. It's in your salad dressing. It's in that healthy granola bar you grabbed for a snack. It's in the bread on your sandwich. It's not saturated fat, and it's not cholesterol. Let me tell you about a patient of mine. Let's call him Mike. Mike was 58. He was a construction foreman, fit, strong, never smoked. He came to me for a routine checkup. His cholesterol was great. His blood pressure was fine. But he felt tired. A little brain fog. He thought it was just age. I looked at his diet log. For breakfast, he had a bowl of oat bran cereal with skim milk and a banana. For lunch, a turkey sandwich on whole wheat bread with a low-fat mayonnaise. For dinner, grilled chicken and a big salad with low-fat dressing. Mike was the poster child for the healthy American diet. But when I did a coronary calcium scan, which looks for actual plaque in the arteries, his score was in the 90th percentile. His arteries were hardening faster than a man who ate fast food every day. Why? Because Mike was eating a diet loaded with something that doesn't show up on a cholesterol test. It's called industrial seed oils. Now, I know that sounds technical, but stick with me. I'm talking about oils like soybean oil, canola oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, and grapeseed oil. You've heard the term vegetable oil and thought it sounded healthy. Vegetables are good for you, right? So vegetable oil must be good? Here's the truth. There is no such thing as a vegetable oil. You can't squeeze a head of broccoli and get oil. These are industrial products. They are made in factories using high heat, high pressure, and chemical solvents like hexane. And here's the part that changes everything for your heart. These oils are packed with something called omega-6 fatty acids. We need some omega-6, but when we consume them in massive quantities, and we do, because they're in almost every processed food, they become highly inflammatory. Think of inflammation like a fire inside your arteries. Cholesterol isn't the villain here. Cholesterol is like the firefighter. It shows up to patch up the damage. But if you keep throwing fuel, inflammatory oils, on the firefighters, cholesterol, have to keep showing up. They pile up, they get stuck, and eventually they form the plaque that causes heart attacks. Mike wasn't eating cholesterol. He was eating fuel for the fire. Now you might be wondering, if these oils are so bad, why are they in everything? This is where the story gets a little uncomfortable, but it's important. Back in the 1950s and 60s, there was a big debate. Some scientists believed sugar was the main cause of heart disease. Others believed saturated fat was. The sugar industry, and I'm not making this up, paid scientists to downplay the link between sugar and heart disease, and instead shine a spotlight on saturated fat. They funded research that made it look like butter and lard were the enemy, and the alternative? Margarine and vegetable oils. So the food industry saw a golden opportunity. They realized they could take cheap, subsidized crops like corn and soybeans, turn them into oil, and use that oil to create hyper-palatable foods. These oils are cheap. They don't spoil quickly, and they allow companies to create foods with a specific mouthfeel that our brains crave. But there's a darker side to this too. These oils, especially when heated, like in a fryer, produce compounds called aldehydes. These are the same types of compounds found in industrial waste and exhaust fumes. When you eat deep-fried food made in these oils, you aren't just eating calories. You are ingesting chemicals that damage the lining of your blood vessels. That damage is what starts the process of atherosclerosis, the hardening of the arteries. We replaced a natural time-tested fat like butter or tallow with an industrial chemical that damages our arteries from the inside out, and we called it heart healthy. So let's get practical. Where are these oils hiding? Because this is the part that shocked me the most. It's not just French fries and potato chips. That's obvious. We know those aren't great for us. The real danger is in the food we think is healthy. Number 1, salad dressing. You go to the store, you buy a bottle of light or low-fat Italian dressing. Look at the ingredients. The first ingredient is usually water. The second, soybean oil. You are taking a healthy bowl of greens and dousing them in a highly inflammatory liquid. If you are eating a salad every day for lunch but using bottled dressing, you are sabotaging your heart. Number 2, healthy snacks. Those baked crackers, the veggie sticks, the protein bars, flip them over. Soybean oil, palm oil, which is highly processed, or canola oil. These are not whole foods. They are processed concoctions designed to have a long shelf life, not to support a long human life. Number 3, plant-based meats. I have many patients who switch to a plant-based diet to help their heart. They buy the veggie burgers, the fake sausages. I have to sit them down and show them the label. These products are often held together with refined coconut oil or canola oil. They are, in many cases, more inflammatory than a grass-fed beef patty. Number 4, restaurant food. This is a big one. If you eat out, even at a nice Italian restaurant or a seafood place, almost everything is cooked in canola or soybean oil. It's cheap, and it has a neutral flavor. That grilled salmon? It was probably brushed with canola oil. That steamed vegetable medley? Tossed in soybean oil. We are consuming these oils with almost every single meal, often without knowing it. Now here's where I want to pause. Because if you've been eating these foods for decades, you might be feeling a little overwhelmed. You might be thinking, okay, I get it, but is there any hope? Can I reverse the damage? And the answer is yes. But before we get to the solution, which is actually simpler than you think, I need to tell you about one more patient. This is the patient that made me change my entire practice. Her name was Diane. She was 62. She was a nurse, actually. She knew about health. She came to me because she had a heart attack. A mild one, thankfully, but she was terrified. She said, "Dr. Name, I did everything right. I ate oatmeal every morning. I can't believe it's not butter. I walked 3 miles a day. How did this happen?" I looked at her diet and she was a perfect example of the low-fat generation. Almost all of her calories came from carbohydrates and industrial oils. Her HDL, the good cholesterol, was very low and her triglycerides were high. That's a classic sign of inflammation caused by too much sugar and too many inflammatory fats. I told Diane we were going to do an experiment. For 3 months, we were going to throw out everything she thought she knew about heart healthy. We were going to target the root cause, inflammation. So, let's get to the good part. What do? How do you protect your heart? It's not about starving yourself. It's about swapping the bad fats for good ones. It's about putting out the fire instead of fueling it. Step 1, the kitchen clean-out. Go to your pantry. Grab any bottle of vegetable oil, canola oil, corn oil, soybean oil, and grapeseed oil. Throw them away. Or use them to lubricate a squeaky door hinge. That's genuinely the best use for them. Replace them with extra virgin olive oil. Not light olive oil, which is often cut with cheaper oils. Real, extra virgin olive oil. It's anti-inflammatory. It's been used for thousands of years. Also, get avocado oil for high heat cooking. It has a high smoke point and is loaded with healthy monounsaturated fats. And bring back butter. Real butter from grass-fed cows is a whole food. It is not the enemy. Step 2. Rethink your salad. If you love salads, great, but make your own dressing. It takes 30 seconds. Olive oil, a squeeze of lemon, a little salt, pepper, and maybe some Dijon mustard. That's it. You now have a dressing that supports your heart instead of attacking it. Step 3. Become a label detective. From now on, you don't just look at the calories or the fat grams. You look at the ingredients. If you see soybean oil, canola oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil, or sunflower oil in the first 3 ingredients, put it back. I don't care if it says heart healthy in big letters on the front. The label on the front is marketing. The ingredient list is the truth. Step 4. The carb connection. This is crucial. The reason these oils are so damaging is that they are usually paired with refined carbohydrates. Think about a bagel with cream cheese. That cream cheese usually has seed oils. Pizza? The crust is white flour, and the cheese is often processed with anti-caking agents that are inflammatory. When you combine sugar or refined carbs with industrial oils, it creates a perfect storm for plaque formation. Step 5. Eat real fat. This is the hardest part for people my age. We were taught to fear fat, but your brain is 60% fat. Your cell membranes are made of fat. You need healthy fat to function. Eat fatty fish like salmon and sardines. They are high in omega-3s, which are the anti-inflammatory fats that balance out the omega-6s. Eat avocados. Eat nuts. Just make sure they aren't roasted in seed oils. Eat eggs. The yolk is the most nutritious part. When Diane did this, the change was remarkable. In 3 months, her triglycerides dropped by over 100 points. Her inflammation markers, CRP, went from high risk to normal. She came back to my office with tears in her eyes. She said, "I feel like I have my life back. The brain fog is gone. The joint pain is gone. I actually have energy." She was eating bacon and eggs for breakfast. She was putting olive oil on everything, and her heart was healing. Now, I want to share something with you that I don't often talk about in my regular practice because it sounds too controversial. There's a reason why the standard advice, the low-fat, high-carb diet, keeps getting repeated, even though the evidence against it is mounting. It's not just about food companies making money. It's about the fact that our entire nutritional system is built on a foundation of fear. We are terrified of fat. And because we are terrified, we are willing to accept anything that says low fat as healthy. But let me show you the evidence. In the last 10 years, multiple major studies have been published. One of the largest, called the PURE study, looked at over 135,000 people across 18 countries. What did it find? It found that people who ate the highest amount of saturated fat had the lowest risk of stroke. It found that people who ate the highest amount of carbohydrates, which is what we replace the fat with, had the highest risk of death. Think about that. The heart-healthy diet of the 90s, the low-fat bagels, the fat-free cookies, the pasta with marinara, was increasing the risk of death. But no one wants to talk about this because it requires us to admit we were wrong for 40 years. The food that is causing more heart attacks than cholesterol is the food that creates chronic inflammation. And the number one source of chronic inflammation in the American diet, by a massive margin, is industrial seed oils. If you remove these oils, you aren't just lowering your heart attack risk, you are lowering your risk of Alzheimer's, arthritis, and even certain cancers, because all of these diseases share a common root: inflammation. So I want to leave you with a different way of thinking about food. For most of your life, you've been told that food is about numbers: calories in, calories out, fat grams, cholesterol milligrams. But that's not how the human body works. The body is a biological system, not a calculator. Food is information. Every bite you take sends a signal to your cells. It can tell your cells to calm down, to repair, to thrive. Or it can tell them to go into defense mode, to inflame, to decay. When you eat a piece of chicken fried in soybean oil, you are sending a signal of inflammation. When you eat a salad dressed in olive oil and lemon, you are sending a signal of healing. You have more control over your heart health than any doctor, any medication, or any surgery can give you. You have control at the grocery store. You have control in your kitchen. That patient, Mike, the construction worker, he's 65 now. He's still working. He stopped eating the low-fat turkey sandwiches and started bringing his own lunch: leftover steak, a salad with olive oil, and a handful of almonds. His calcium score hasn't gone up in 5 years. The progression of his disease stopped. Diane is traveling now. She's with her grandkids. She sends me photos of her cooking with her granddaughters, showing them how to make vinaigrette. If this information resonated with you, or if it made you question something you've believed for a long time, I want you to do one thing for me. Don't just take my word for it. This weekend, I want you to go to your kitchen. Pull out 3 packaged foods. Just 3. Look at the ingredient list. See if you find soybean oil or canola oil. Then, make a choice. Swap out that salad dressing for olive oil and vinegar. Just for 1 week. See if you notice a difference in your energy. See if you notice a difference in how you feel. And if you want to go deeper, if you want to learn the specific brands I recommend, or the exact meal plan I give my patients to reverse inflammation, I put together a free guide. It's linked in the description below. Because my goal isn't to scare you. My goal is to empower you. You don't have to live in fear of a heart attack. You just have to know the truth. Thanks for watching. Take care of that heart. It's the only one you've got.